Most of us don't know what we should do or what we should change. And of course, we're going to have trouble deciding what to do to get there. Hey there, Kelsey Toner here, the founder of Guest Focused Tour Business Coaching. And I want to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it honestly. If you ran the exact same business next year, same tours, same pricing, same marketing, same everything, would you hit your goals? Many operators don't spend much time thinking about this question or really assessing how much they're doing differently from one year to the next. But here's the thing. This is one of the most important questions that you can ask to find out if you are on the right track or if you're actually taking steps to get to the different outcomes that you ultimately desire. Like I said, myself and our team of extraordinary tour and activity business coaches and mentors every day are helping tour business owners like you. And in this video, I want to talk about this question. Actually taking a step back and looking at how much you're going to do different next year versus this year forces you to be really honest about what's working and, candidly, how much work you want to put into your tour business. And that can be painful. There's a comfort trap that a lot of tour operators fall into. We're busy, we're guiding tours, we're responding to emails, we're putting out fires, we're working hard. So we tell ourselves, I'm busy, so I must be successful. But being busy and building a business are not the same thing. Busy season makes you feel productive because you're in motion, you're doing stuff. But motion doesn't always equal progress. You can work really hard all year and still end up in the exact same place financially. Same revenue, same profit, same problems, just more tired. And that's why this question matters. It cuts through the noise and forces you to look at results, not just effort. Other options that come to mind are like, well, maybe I should move up market. Maybe I should adjust my prices, right? Just charge more for the same tours, activities, or experiences. Maybe this is at a strategic level. I should fundamentally change my strategy. But here's the real problem. Most of us don't know what we should do or what we should change because we don't have as much clarity as we need on our goals. Put another way, if we don't have a super clear idea on what we want to happen in the next year, we don't have really clear goals, then of course we're going to have trouble deciding what to do to get there. For example, what are some of your goals over the next year? Take a minute to think about it. If you said something like, I want to make more money or grow my business, that's not a goal, that's a wish. Wishes are vague, goals are specific. And if you want to build a real business, we need real goals. That's where the SMART framework comes in. Your goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. To make it extra concrete, here are some examples of SMART goals for tour business owners. Maybe a revenue goal, like increase annual revenue from $1,800 to $250,000 by December 31st. That's specific, that's measurable, and you know exactly whether you hit that goal or not. A profit goal might say improve net profit margin from 25% by 40% by the end of Q1. And a bookings goal, well, I'm going to grow my direct bookings from 30% to 50% of total revenue by the end of the year. Hopefully you can see the difference here. These specific goals tell you exactly what success looks like. If you can fail to achieve them, if you can know at the end of a time-bound period, have we succeeded or not, then you're doing this right. And more importantly, having specific goals like this allow us to determine some key performance indicators. In other words, we can track our progress as we move towards that goal. Without these high-level SMART goals as a business owner, we are just wandering. We might be working hard, but we have no idea if we're actually getting closer to where we want to be. We don't have good criteria for judging where we should put our limited time and our limited resources. So before we plan anything else this off-season, let's sit down and make sure we have clear SMART goals for the coming season. Those are going to look a little bit differently for each operator. What you want your life to look like, what you want your business to look like. They could be related to revenue, profit, bookings, product launches, whatever matters most to you and your business. Some examples of tactics might be, well, redesigning your sales page, optimizing your Viator listings, adding a new distribution channel, maybe with local hotels, launching a new product line, or building an email automation. These are all good things to do, but they're not goals. They're actions that you and your team can take to reach your goals. A tour or activity business owner should really have just 3 to 5 high-level goals that they're focused on. So a high-level goal might be to increase your company revenue by $150,000. One tactic you might choose is to launch a new tour that generates $150,000 in annual revenue. But as you can see, that's not the only path that we can use to get to $150,000 in new revenue. It may not be the only tactic that you want to try over the next season. The goal tells you why you're doing something. The tactic is telling you how. Or as I sometimes like to put it, the tactic is a hypothesis on how we as a team can bring about that change. I really love the way that one of our coaches put it, when it says, without goals, it's very easy for us to just be busy, right? To fill our days doing stuff and filling it with lots of stuff, because a lot of us are really hard workers. But we don't know if it's actually moving the needle or what needle it should be moving. Okay, so there's a third element we need to talk about now, and that is KPIs, or key performance indicators. These are the chosen metrics that are going to tell you whether your tactics are actually working. Many operators aren't tracking a whole lot except that total revenue figure most of the time. But that's kind of like driving a car by only looking at the odometer. We need more data than that. Here are some example key performance indicators that tour operators may want to track depending on their goals. 1, your conversion rate, the percentage of website visitors who actually book. This can tell you if your sales page is working. This can help you identify trends and perhaps tell you if you're on track for increasing your direct bookings. The average order value. This is how much the average customer spends per booking, and it can tell you if your upsells are working. You may choose this key performance indicator if we're looking at growing our profitability. We may use this as an indicator for growing our gross revenue, our profit margin by product. This is a great example of a key performance indicator to track if we're looking at growing our profitability. Our customer acquisition cost, how much we're spending to get each booking. For any given goal, we want to select a very small number of key performance indicators, of actual metrics that are going to keep us honest. It's going to tell us if our tactics are working, if we're making progress, or if we need to adjust in real time. All right, let's use a quick example of how we can connect those SMART goals to tactics and a couple key performance indicators. Another best practice that we recommend here at Guest Focus is to think about the year in terms of 90-day sprints or quarters. Sometimes when we're setting these types of annual goals, it can be difficult to predict what's coming, and the world, as we know, is changing all of the time. Let's say our goal is to hit $250,000 in revenue next year, up from $180,000 this year. So relatively small business, that would be about a 40% increase. Our Q1 tactics to accomplish this SMART goal might look like this. 1, we're going to redesign our sales page for our best-selling tour and try and improve that conversion rate from 2% to 3%. That alone, if successful, could add an additional $20,000 in revenue with the same amount of traffic without any additional marketing spend. The second tactic, let's audit our pricing and looking at increasing our prices by 10 to 15%, or maybe introducing some variable pricing during your peak season. If we're doing $180,000 at current prices, if we can average a 15% increase, that gets us to $207,000 in annual revenue, again, without increased marketing spend, without any additional work developing new products or services. And tactic 3, maybe we're gonna build a post-booking email automation where we're gonna try and reduce no-shows and build in 1 or 2 upsells. Fewer no-shows or refunds will mean more profit, and increasing our average order value means we don't have to spend more to get more customers. We're gonna try and lift the amount of money we're getting for each booking that comes our way. So each one of these tactics will have 1 or maybe 2 key performance indicators that we're going to track over the course of the quarter. And this is important in our monthly meetings to run those numbers and see, hey, is this hypothesis or is this tactic actually working? And if it is, we can continue to double down. If we're not seeing as much progress on it, or we're not seeing something reflected in the numbers yet, we can then ask ourselves why. But what I love about moving with goals, tactics, and KPIs like this is it really helps you answer the question, what should I not be doing, right? Or what are the things that I can scratch off of my to-do list, or maybe put on the shelf? Give yourself permission to not do all of these things at once. You as a business, as a team, as an organization, is going to say, hey, here's the things that we are going to move the needle on, and we're going to focus all of our resources and attention on just these things. And if something is not contributing meaningfully to that tactic, to that KPI, or to that goal, well, that's when the discipline comes in to say no. So here's a hard truth. You can do a lot of this yourself. Of course, we can set those goals. We can come up with the different tactics ourselves. We can come up with the KPIs, or maybe do it within our team. But the one thing that we can't do is see our own blind spots. There's a great saying, you can't read the label from inside the bottle. When you're running your tour and activity business day to day, you're too close to it. You've been making the same decisions, following patterns, and you don't even realize sometimes the biggest things that are holding you back, sometimes when they're right underneath our noses. Our team of coaches have worked with over 2,000 operators from around the world, and many of them can look at someone's business and within 20 minutes, spot problems and optimizations that can be remedied and have a massive impact in your business. And it's not just because they're super smart or gifted, but partly it's because they did this in their own business for years and years, and partly because they worked with so many other business owners just like yours. One of our clients, they sat down with their coach and they had this goal of increasing their profit over next year. And they had all kinds of different tactics. They had all kinds of different ideas. But that veteran coach was able to sit down with them and say, well, this is crazy. Why are you capping your group size at 12? Are there days when you're selling out? Do we think that we could increase this by 3 people per tour? And they also noted, hey, why do we have 2 people, 2 guides, tour staff on these tours? Are there ways that we could have the same quality of experience but reduce 1 staff member? With just these 2 small tweaks, they were able to get a $24,000 lift in their profitability, which paid for their coaching multiple times over. And that was just with 20 minutes of insight plus a couple hours of implementation. So let's come back to the question where we started. If you ran the exact same or pretty similar business that you did last year, this year, would you get to your goals? And if the answer is no, then I invite you to book a call right now, because we have a limited number of mentors, a limited number of spots, and here in the off season is when those spots are going faster than ever. Head over to guestfocus.com/check-in. And would love to set you up with a tour or activity business mentor who can sit down with you so you don't have to come up with KPIs, tactics, and goals in a vacuum. Someone who can sit down and highlight those blind spots. We all know that there's some things we know we don't know, but the most valuable things sometimes are the things we don't know. Book a call today and let's help you find some of those things you don't know. Often they can have the biggest impact and you can have the best year ever. Now, our calendar fills up fast, so head over to guestfocus.com/check-in for a no commitment, quick chat to see if mentorship is right for you. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.